Hello, hello, hello. I'm back again. Your main, the real Bill Real. I'm coming to you today with a video um, taken from the Young Turks, and the discussion is on Uncle Tom's, which is why the name of this video is The Era of Anti-intellectualism, the misnomer of Uncle Tom. I will explain what I mean by this as this video plays. But for right now, let's get into what they're talking about right now.
Reactions are rolling into the Zimmerman acquittal, and now we've got some, both in the media and in sports, some very notable African Americans giving their reaction to what happened. Here's a few.
Well, I agreed with the verdict. Yeah. I feel sorry that young kid got killed. There was some racial profiling, no question about it. But something happened to change the dynamic of that night.
I am so glad that Charles Barkley stated the truth. Men of honor, men of respect, stand up for the truth, no matter who it's for. Did you hear what he said? He agreed with the verdict because he knew that there was not enough evidence to convict George Zimmerman of second-degree murder. He says there was some racial profiling going on. There's nothing wrong with racially profiling someone. If you've had somebody continuously do crimes or commit crimes in your neighborhood and they look a certain way, you're supposed to be on edge when you see one of them again. Only an idiot allows somebody to continuously come and break in your places looking a certain way and do nothing about it. And then he says here, he says the dynamic changed. Now he's still being nice for his brother, Tracy, by saying that he thinks the dynamic changed. He believes that Trayvon Martin was beating him up. But I'm going to let you see later on in this video how the Young Turks are going to act like what he is saying is just so wrong and just so crazy. He's got to be some type of Uncle Tom, and he's just taking up for him. But let's go.
There are a lot of black people who are racist too. I think some
This is what I've been stating the whole entire time. There are lots of black people that are racist. These marches, they are racist. These protests, they are racist. Your president knows that they're racist. But let me stop interrupting him. Let him go ahead and say what he's going to say.
sometimes when people talk about race, they act like only white people are racist. There are a lot of black people who are racist. Trayvon Martin, God rest his soul, I think he did flip the switch and start beating the hell out of Mr. Zimmerman.
Thank you. Thank you for honesty. This is what a man does. A man tells the truth. He doesn't come on and start acting like the fictional Uncle Tom that you guys don't actually know who you're referring to, which is the misrepresentation of the true character, which I will explain here shortly. But I am so glad that he said that. We need more men like Charles.
You can't prove if somebody is a racist unless they really come out and do the act.
Did you hear what Bill Cosby said? You can't say that somebody is a racist unless they came out and they actually did something racist. And there's no coincidence that he's pointing in the way that he's pointing right here. Okay? Every picture that they show is all symbolic. But as this show goes on, they're going to attempt to discredit them and say that they have motives. They have some type of motive, or they're not being true to themselves. They're not being true to their people. Idiocy.
Let's not go into a racial discussion unless we really have something there.
So
So they didn't like hearing that. And in fact, they're going to comment later on in the show. And they're going to say, he shouldn't have been using that voice, if he wants to, talk about these certain issues. They want to have him to be on the phone saying, well, I think racism is a problem, we need to do something about it. That's what they'd rather him say. And they'd rather him say it like that. Because that goes along with the stereotype that black men have to fit inside of. Like every now and then, hey, I'm getting a little too smart. Let me get myself back in order. And let me get foolish and stupid for you, sir. And that's what these entertainers are doing. That's what Jamie Foxx is doing. That's what Spike Lee is doing. That's what Jay-Z is doing. They're buck dancing. Cooning.
You can certainly have a problem with some of the things they said, like Bill Cosby saying that.
You can certainly have a problem with something that they said. Now, what are you going to have a problem with what he said? What? What did Charles Barkley say that was wrong? What did Bill Cosby say that was wrong? He told you the truth. But you guys don't stand for the truth. The media does not stand for the truth. This guy definitely doesn't stand for the truth. He doesn't. He kind of wants to tell the truth. I don't even watch these guys, but just for previewing this clip, I already know exactly what their whole entire design is to do, which is to dumb you down, people. They don't want you to think for yourself.
Have to do an act, like maybe stalking a black kid through a neighborhood and then shooting and killing him, maybe.
See there? They want to say, oh, yeah, just stalking a black kid, going through a neighborhood, shooting him and killing him. They want you to continuously believe that blacks are being hunted down. They're an endangered species because white Hispanics want to kill them. They just want to shoot them. They're endangered. But they won't bring up any of the black-on-black stats that tell you that they're killing their own selves. 93% of black deaths from youths that are Trayvon Martin's age, they're killed by other black people. They don't want to talk about that. They want you to continuously believe that, the boogeyman, the white Hispanics, are coming to shoot us.
Let's get these videos all together. We've got somebody goes even farther. This is the Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. He's talking to Piers Morgan. Let's hear what he has to say.
He goes even farther. Yeah. I am so glad that Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson said what he said. A true man's man. Pay attention to what this man is about to say.
This case was not about race at all. And what happened, you have the race hustlers and poverty pimps like Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and others who turned it into a race issue in order to gain power and wealth. Using black Americans by dividing the races, intimidating white people in order to gather more power or get more power and wealth. George Zimmerman would have done whatever it took to protect himself. It didn't matter to George Zimmerman the color of the man. And this notion that Trayvon Martin was some little innocent kid tiptoeing to the tulips and George Zimmerman had nothing else to do but to go out and kill him is a lie.
See, we need more men like the Reverend Jesse Lee Patterson to state the truth. This is what we need. Integrity, people. The reason why you have so many buffoons like Al Sharpton and Reverend Jesse Jackson and the NAACP, Ben Jealous, and all these, the Urban League, Department of Justice, Barack Obama. The reason why you have these people perpetuating this is because these people don't stand for anything. These people are only concerned about their Masonic lodges and their handlers. That's all they concern themselves with. So they sell out their people.
Trayvon Martin was a thug. His parents know that. You know that. I know that.
Yes. And I've been telling everyone that he was a thug since last year. And I'm glad that he went on CNN and exposed the truth. And told on the parents that you're putting on trying to act like your kid did nothing wrong. When you know he punched a bus driver and you know he assaulted a teacher there at his school. which is why you had nobody from his school come to that court and say, you know what, he was a good kid. He never bothered anybody. He never had a fight. He was never violent. He never came to school looking high. He never came to school leaning over, could barely walk to his classes. He never ever acted like that. Why is it that you haven't had one person from his high school to come out and say something good about him? Because they knew the truth. This is what I don't like.
We knew that Trayvon Martin was a thug, and that's what it was all about. He was a pot smoking.
And he goes on and on.
No, he doesn't go on and on and on. He said what needed to be said, what you guys don't have the integrity of saying. See how he's looking away? Like, oh, I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. Now, these guys know the truth. I want you to understand that these guys actually know the truth. All four of them know the truth. They have all of the facts of the case. But they are paid to sit on national TV and act as if what these men, respectable men, are saying makes no sense. Oh, they're just the biggest sellouts ever. No way possible was he a thug. Just wanted to let you know about the snow job that's in effect.
He says all these things that are wrong. Pierce Morgan stepped in, said you don't speak for me.
And he said it was quite offensive to Pierce Morgan's credit.
Is that what's referred to as Uncle Tom?
Usually,
Yes,
yeah.
Let me answer your question, okay? As he's playing devil's advocate. That was what referred to as an Uncle Tom. Let me let everybody know that what you think an Uncle Tom is not an Uncle Tom. The original Uncle Tom died being beaten because he refused to tell the whereabouts of two slaves that had escaped. Uncle Tom is a martyr. When the movie was written, the script was rewritten in a way to make it seem as though he went and told on the two slaves that had escaped to his master. So this is a misnomer when people call you an Uncle Tom. If someone says that you are an Uncle Tom, it means that you stood up for what was right. You stood up for the freedom of someone else. So when you call me an Uncle Tom for standing up for George Zimmerman, I wear it with pride.
No, this was not a question. Like, that's a heavy thing to say, Uncle Tom, right? And
Is that what they mean when
yes, that's exactly what they mean.
Oh, okay.
But this one is not ambiguous, right?
Right, yes.
I believe that he's actually seen Boondocks and wants to be Uncle Ruckus.
Okay. Now, what he is saying is that he thinks that this coming out with the truth by the Reverend Jesse Lee Patterson is in some way him wanting to take sides with some powers that be. Like all of these white people are on the side of George Zimmerman, which is not true. I've talked to and seen many comments and many protesters. They're protesting for Trayvon Martin justice or whatever, being ignorant just with the black folks too. So that's not true. But he wants you to believe that Reverend Jesse Lee Patterson is just being an Uncle Ruckus. And Uncle Ruckus is a character from the Boondocks who's just a total sellout. Okay? But let me let him continue to say what he's saying. It's all bullcrap, people.
Like, he's trying to be Uncle Ruckus from that show. And so I like that range because now Barkley, I don't agree with, but he speaks his mind and he's obviously coming from an earnest place. And, like, I don't agree with him that Trayvon at some point was beating the hell out of Zimmerman, right?
I want to show you how disingenuous the media is. This turkey watched the trial just like you did. This turkey is a part of the media. So he has had access to all types of evidence. He's long time ago has known everything. He wants to act as if John Good is lying. He wants to act as if the 13-year-old kid who came upon Trayvon Martin on top of George Zimmerman beating him up before he was shot is lying. He wants to act as if the screams are just made up. Could have been just anybody around. He wants to act as if the broken nose, he wants to act like the injuries are nothing. He wants everybody to believe that this kid that was good at fighting, had lots of fights, had George Zimmerman on the ground, and was just play tapping him.
There's a lot of assumptions there. He had a couple of scratches, etc. I mean, he had broken nose. They got to know a fight. Yeah. And Barkley and I might disagree on, like, who stuck.
All right. They got into a fight. I don't see George Zimmerman getting into a fight with a taller kid that he's afraid of. And he's afraid to let know where his address is. But this is what this buffoon wants you to believe. This is what this liar is trying to convince you of, that he doesn't believe Trayvon was doing that bad of a job. I don't think he was beating him up at all. Like it's not possible. Like he can't be taken by a 6'2", 160-pound ringing wet high school junior right now. Like he can't be beaten up by him. Like I say, this is the era of anti-intellectualism. Anti-intellectualism. Don't think. Listen to me and my dumb rationale. Listen to my dumb narratives. Let me dumb you down. It's lunacy, people.
If it made sense for Zimmerman to shoot him after they had a fight and he got punched in the face.
But Barkley's main point was that there wasn't enough evidence to convict him. That was his primary point, which is hard to disagree with. It's a valid argument.
He can't help but make sense. So he wants to backpedal and say, well, that's a decent argument. Well, you can't argue with it. Yeah, dude. You're making sense. You're forgetting your role. Okay? You're supposed to dumb people down. You're not supposed to come to hypotheses and theories that make sense.
Totally valid argument. I would argue for manslaughter, but perfectly fine, right? Now, Cosby, I think, goes a little further, right? And he says, look, you can't ever assume racism, basically what he's saying, unless you can absolutely prove it. Well, that's a pretty high standard, right? And so,
and as John pointed out, you have some proof here.
You got some proof here. What proof? 45 interviews later, FBI combing the area, asking everybody, doing their investigation. What proof do you have? That Trayvon was black? Oh, he was racially profiled. He was black. Get the heck out of here. As if nobody else is ever racially profiled. As if nobody else ever notices a Mexican or a white person or Indian guy looking suspicious. They want you to believe that black people are under attack because they're just being profiled at an alarming rate. It's all propaganda, people. Don't fall for their crap.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of proof here.
Bill Cosby.
There's a decent amount of proof here. What proof? Where's your proof? Where was the proof when there was an opportunity for all of the people who had been duped into believing that George Zimmerman was guilty? Where was the proof when the prosecution went to present it to show that he was racist? Where was the proof after 45 interviews? There is no proof. It's only you guys, you liars, that are whipping it up for ratings. You're making money off of this. So you must keep the fear-mongering going. You must keep all of the foolishness going. And keep spitting out your things that make no sense.
He's a other voice. We're talking about racism.
Yeah, he needs to use another voice when talking about racism. See? Anti-intellectualism. See what he's smiling at? Yeah, I want all my black guys to sound dumb and stupid. I want them to use words they shouldn't use. I don't want them to be able to put a sentence together. That's what we want. This is propaganda to dumb you down, people. They are not for your intelligence. They are not for rational thinking. Their sole purpose is to make you think the way in which they're thinking, which they know is erroneous.
That isn't the buy Jello pudding voice.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, this isn't the buy Jello pudding voice. He only has one voice. And you don't like that he sounds intelligent. You hate that. So you want to encourage people to sound stupid. That's exactly what you're laughing at. That's what he's laughing at, and that's what he's laughing at, and he's laughing at. It's total bullcrap, people. Demand better. And beware that you are about to receive some notices that's going to come to you guys. Yes. Yeah. It's going to be funny.
Yeah, George Zimmerman had a restraining order against him and was already charged with a felony for assaulting policemen. So,
all right, let's deal with this misinformation that he wants to give out to you to make you want to just be so upset with George Zimmerman. You had a situation where you had a domestic situation with the ex. I've been through it. Every single guy has been through it. Women are wicked. They do all kinds of bull crap. They start 80% of the arguments and then call the police and have you locked up and have restraining orders placed on you when they're starting it. They're cheating on you. They're doing all kinds of bull crap. All right? We don't know what was going on in it. But obviously, if it was very serious, it's not going to get lifted. Number two, once it did get lifted, there's nothing wrong with you having a gun. Number three, what you want to say is, well, since he had that lifted and he got his gun back, he had no right to not know that that was an undercover who was coming to grab his friend. He had no right. And if that was very serious, there's no way that that's going to be reduced. But this is him wanting to throw some negativity out to get the dumb people to bite on it. So, oh, you know, he is bad. He's bad. Anti-intellectualism. That's what this is all about.
well, they never say he's a thug. No one ever says he's a thug.
All right. He's not a thug. That's the reason why people aren't calling him a thug. Trayvon Martin was a thug. When you got tattoos, you're smoking weed, you're growing weed, you're selling weed at school, you're punching teachers, punching bus drivers, you're getting suspended, you're writing WTF, you had a burglary tool on you. You had a burglary tool that was taken from you. Women's jewelry, diamonds. Come on. This is a thug. You're drinking lean. You're talking and using the N-word, this and that. I mean, come on, check out his text messages. Check out what he was saying. This is not a wholesome kid that you guys are defending. People, you got to see through this. They're just lying to you.
And how is it that if you have a restraining order against you, you're still allowed to carry a gun? Yeah. I thought that was one of the things.
And one of the reasons I think that Bill Cosby is saying what he's saying is that people get hung up on this weird, and I understand why, the definition of racism, where they assume that if you're saying someone's a racist, that you just hate it, you just want to kill it, you've got like propaganda in your house against the race, and that's not what it means. It means that you evaluate people and situations differently based on your racial impressions, and that is true of every conservative America. It's true of basically every liberal white person in America. They see it somewhat differently. Hopefully you don't allow it to affect your politics or your day-to-day interactions with people, but it did in Zimmerman's case.
That's a lie. It did not in his case. He had no control over the infestation of Negroes that was breaking in houses, stealing cars, stealing radios, vandalizing. You want to make it out to be a situation that it's not. As if he was just so racist, but you have no proof of it. If a white guy came and beat me up and I pulled out my gun and I shot him, I would not be a racist. You got to come off these lies. Let's go.
Tom, Jack, and I started doing the show in 2001.
The very
one or
first
two.
pilot was December of 01.
Yeah, so in 2001 or 2, we started, and you guys talk about it now. Like, the problem with the word, and it goes to your point, John, is that the word racist is so incredibly loaded that you think, like, as soon as you suggest that somebody did something racist, they feel like you just called them David Duke. And there are plenty of good people who have been accused of that, and we're like, I'm not a racist. What are you talking about? Right, yeah, we are a little different. And but so we started talking about, we were kidding, but racialist, which is like, and what we really get at is that it's sort of when you bring racial components into something, and there almost needs to be a secondary word for that. Because I hear in Bill Cosby a guy who's probably seen so much dramatic change in the country, some of which Bill Cosby played a role in happening. Bill Cosby, an important figure in American.
And you can really see that change through the windshield of a Mercedes.
See? He wants to discredit him and say that there's something wrong with him because this man is successful. Because this man doesn't have to work, and because this man had a productive career, there's something wrong with that. So therefore, you're an Uncle Tom. They want you to laugh at any man who stands for working, getting a good education, being a good example for his children. They want to say he's a sellout. He's a sellout. He's successful. Only real black men struggle. He's a fake black man. That's what they want you to believe. That's what they're selling you. Ignorance. The media is selling you ignorance in the era of anti-intellectualism.
You're too hard. You're too hard. Listen, I've defended Bill Cosby on the show repeatedly. He says, look, black kids need to get an education, and we got to solve black on black crime, etc. And I like that there's somebody out there pushing from not a place of bad intent, right? Jared and I have had some debates over this. Here, I think he's gone too far, where he's just assuming away all prejudice.
Right.
He's assuming away all prejudice. As if George Zimmerman was wrong for noticing. As if he was supposed to allow Trayvon and everybody else just to continuously do whatever they wanted to do. Wear hoodies, look suspicious. And I want to let you know something. That according to their reports now, I can't take too much, I can't believe their reports that much, but according to the school where he was going, they said that Trayvon Martin was looking suspicious at school. He was in an unauthorized place, so they say. Sounds like bull to me, but they said he was in an unauthorized place and he looked suspicious. So he looked suspicious to somebody at school, and he also looked suspicious to somebody at the retreat, and he also looked suspicious in 7-Eleven because the cashier is definitely checking out everything that Trayvon was doing. And as Trayvon approached the register, he kind of braced himself like, I don't really know what it could be with this kid. But according to him, he wants you to think, oh, George Zimmerman was totally wrong for even thinking like that. He looks suspicious to me in the 7-Eleven video. Okay? Let's go.
If you don't want to use...
He wants to believe that we've come farther than
Yeah, he wants to believe that we have a black president. He wants to believe we have the Department of Justice is headed by what's his name, Holder. He wants to believe it. He wants to believe we have a National Black Caucus. He wants us to believe we have an NAACP. He wants us to believe that we have black broadcasters. He wants us to believe we have black entertainers and athletes. I don't know. He wants us to believe we have influence. Let's go.
I hear in his voice, but he wants to believe it. He hates it.
And by the way, we have come really, really far in Cosby's time, but we haven't gotten to the end. And I think that you can have a civil and totally interesting conversation with Bill Cosby and Charles Barkley about these issues, and we'll find areas of agreement and disagreement. And then you get to the people who are paid to be the Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckuses. That's part of why I wanted to make that distinction, right? So it's not like black people can't disagree. Of course black people disagree. Of course they do, right? But some, like Jesse Lee Peterson, are paid to come out there and say racist things that white people want to say but can't say.
Right. See? This is what I'm telling you. They continuously go back to this notion that the Uncle Tom is the person that is paid by white people to see things as they really are. They cannot give the credit to the black man and say, hey, there are some black men that don't fall for bullcrap. There are some black men that are conservatives. There are some that see things factually. They don't let their emotions guide them in their decisions. They're not irrational. They don't come to a conclusion without getting all of the facts first. That's impossible. Black men don't think like that. So these men, these three highly successful, prominent men, highly respected men, there's no way that these men can speak for the masses of black men. That's what he's saying to you. And it's this message that I'm going to have taken off of the air. I'm going to come against you guys. Because it's time out for this bullcrap. This is racism. This is racism. It's not journalism. This is hate mongering. This is race baiting that they are doing. And it's disparaging the content of this whole entire show. But you'll be reading about it. You'll be reading all about it. Let's go.
So they pay a black guy to say it. So he comes out and he goes, oh, well, Trayvon's definitely a thug. Now, but why would you say that?
Yeah. So we paid Charles Barkley to say that. We paid Reverend Jesse Lee Patterson to say that. We paid Bill Cosby to say that. Who paid him? Come on, get out of here. Where exactly can we find out that he was a thug? How about go and take a look at some of the school records? How about go and take a look at Miami-Dade Public Schools and figure out all the reports that they did not write up to save him from prosecution? Take a look at his text messages. How about doing that? How about divulging that information? But he is playing a game on you. He's a liar. He's a professional pundit to dumb you down and to pander to ignorant people. Ignorant black people and ignorant white people who want to kiss black people's butt. It's time out for the butt kissing. We got to stand up for truth, people. Let's come against these shows. Let's get our emails going. Let's start boycotting these shows. They're divisive. They only separate the country and they dumb down us, our people and our children who are watching this crap.
Kid was getting Skittles and he didn't pick the fight. Why would you?
He was getting Skittles. He didn't pick a fight. Like Skittles equate to being nonviolent. Oh, he got Skittles. Oh, no. He could do no wrong. He didn't pick a fight. He had no problem picking fights with anybody else. This kid wasn't afraid of anybody. So he wants you to believe that he didn't do anything wrong. He still wants you to believe he did nothing wrong after all of the facts have come out.
See, he's a thug. That makes no sense. And then
He says he's a thug. It makes no sense. It makes perfect sense. But you don't want people to think rationally. You want them to think irrationally. These guys aren't men. They're weak. Let's go.
In the middle of it, he makes every assumption in favor of Zimmerman. Zimmerman was a good guy, and he never cared about race. How do you know that? You know.
When did he say that? How do you know that? He uses common sense. He can weigh the information. He's not loyal to ignorance. That's what seems to be going on right now. There's an air of ignorance, and people are latching a hold of it as if it is something to be desired. These here need to be replaced with a new TV show. And this should be a T, this should be a T, and this should be a T. And it should stand for Tell the Truth.
The Zimmerman advocates are always like, you don't know what happened on that night. You can't make the assumptions that Zimmerman was. But this guy makes assumptions. Zimmerman was such a good guy and Trayvon was a thug, and I know it. And the reason is he doesn't know it. He always assumes the black guy is guilty and the white guy is innocent because that's what he's paid to assume.
You see that? Pure bullcrap. He wants us to believe that every black man always assumes that the white guy is innocent and the black guy is always guilty. That's an insult to your intelligence. To everyone. Demand the truth.